Alrighty, it's time for another episode of Shaw Sports Talk, and here's what we got today. Given that college football is in full effect, I want to look at the Big Four conferences. So the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. And from there, I want to rank the top three teams so far from each conference, and then I want to pick one player that's been standing out to me from each conference. So with that being said, let's get into it. Before we dive into these power rankings, I want to be very transparent with how I'm looking at things. One, a team's got to have a quality win. If a team's 3-0 but they play three shitbox teams, I'm not putting them in my top three. That's just how it's going to go. Then, I'm looking at if they did play a shitbox team, did they dominate? Did they show that they're the way better team? And then finally, I'm just looking for clean performances. So that's my criteria with how I'm ranking these teams. With that being said, let's start with our first conference breakdown, the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. And with that being said, after the first 3 weeks of the season, my number one team in the SEC is the LSU Tigers, and here's why. First off, they have two quality wins. When you look at their season opener, they go on the road, a night game at the Fake Death Valley, as they called it, at Clemson, and they get a win. I understand Clemson's been struggling as of late. They have 2 losses this year, but I don't give a shit. Clemson's a good team. They'll always be a good team, and they're a great program, and they got a great coach in Dabo Swinney. So when you go over there and you play Clemson and you get a W in their house, in their home, that's a huge quality win, not just a quality win. And then their second quality win. I better not hear any lashback about this because it's really going to piss me off, and that's the Florida Gators this past weekend. Florida always plays LSU tight. LSU always plays Florida tight. And this was another great matchup, another great game. Florida's a tough team. They have good talent. I understand that, like Clemson, they haven't been performing well, but this is a good team, and they gave LSU everything they had, and LSU walked away with the W. So they have 2 quality wins. And then my next major reason is their defense. Blake Baker, their defensive coordinator, comes from Missouri 2 years ago. Last year was his first year with the LSU Tigers. He did a great job. But this year, that defense looks like they've taken that next step. They look phenomenal. You got the Weeks brothers. You got Harold Perkins. You got great DBs. I mean, this defense is legit. They're for real, and they're showing it. And then finally, I love the quarterback. I think Nussmeier is a great quarterback. I think he's very efficient. And I think that offense is going to really get going here soon. So I got the LSU Tigers sitting at the top of the SEC after the first 3 weeks. Now, moving on to my second place team in the SEC, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Listen, this was extremely difficult, and my gut even tells me that if Georgia played LSU, Georgia would probably win that thing, but I got LSU in the top spot because of their 2 quality wins. But with that being said, Georgia definitely has the best quality win, and that's going on the road to Neyland Stadium and taking down the Tennessee Volunteers. And when you look at this game, it's so impressive for multiple different reasons. Coming into this game, everybody thought that Tennessee had a more explosive offense, and everybody thought that if this game gets into a fireworks show, into a shootout, that Tennessee's for sure going to win. But the first sign of a good team is a team that can win in multiple different ways. Meaning, if a game gets engaged in a fireworks show, you can walk away with the win. If the game's engaged in a slugfest, low-scoring game, you can walk away with the win. If it's at home, if it's on the road, if it's in the middle of the day, middle of the night, you can find a way to win. And that's exactly what the Bulldogs did. They found a way to win. And the Bulldogs proved to everybody that if teams want to engage in a shootout, they are willing to do it, and they'll go head-to-head and they'll win. And they do this by bringing in guys like Zachariah Branch from USC. I played with them, one of the most explosive guys, one of the best teammates I've been around. So they bring in guys like that. Then they go out there, they dial some great stuff up. I mean, they're doing screen. Next thing you know, screen and go for a big play. I mean, they dialed some good stuff up. They go out there, they rush for 198 yards, throw for 304 yards. Gunnar Stockton doesn't turn the ball over. And then when you look at this defense, I think Kirby Smart's one of the best defensive guys, one of the best head coaches in college football. He's going to get them right. So this is why I have the Georgia Bulldogs sitting at number 2 in the SEC, because their offense proved to us that they can engage in a shootout, and I know Kirby Smart will fix those mistakes on the back end of the Georgia Bulldogs defense. When it comes to picking this third and final spot in the SEC, it's nearly impossible. So I'm kind of going to line it up. I'm going to talk it out for myself, really, and then do a process of elimination, and let's see what we get to. First off, we're looking at Auburn. They're 3-0. They got a real good quality win over Baylor. Baylor's a good team. Baylor beat SMU. They got a great quarterback, so that's a really good win. Then, looking at Vanderbilt, they beat Virginia Tech. They dismantled South Carolina. Two pretty good wins. Then you're looking at Oklahoma. Oklahoma had my favorite performance of the year, dominating Michigan. I mean, that was my favorite team performance of the year so far. And then you're looking at Texas A&M, who goes on the road this past weekend in a super hostile environment. I played at Notre Dame, and they find a way to get it done. And then finally, Ole Miss. Ole Miss beats Kentucky. Ole Miss beats Arkansas. Two pretty good wins. So, starting with Ole Miss, I'm scratching Ole Miss. I'm not a Lane Kiffin guy. I'm not an Ole Miss guy. Never will be, so they're out. Vandy. As much as I love their win against South Carolina, Virginia Tech, I don't know if Virginia Tech's the team we thought they were. Vandy's right there. I just can't do it for some reason. So I'm leaving Vandy out. And then Oklahoma plays Auburn this upcoming weekend. So I'll let them battle it out. So that leaves me with the good old Texas A&M Aggies. I played against Texas A&M last year. I love Coach Elko. I think Mike Elko is one of the best coaches in college football. Marcel Reed, who I'm about to get to here in a minute, is phenomenal. He's taken a huge step forward from last year. So I'm going with the Texas A&M Aggies as my third and final spot in my top three in the SEC. So to quickly summarize, my top three in the SEC. Number one, we got the LSU Tigers. I'm totally sold on their defense. I love Blake Baker. I'm not sold on the rest, but I'm going to keep them there. Number two, the Georgia Bulldogs. I love that they showed they can engage in a fireworks show. And then number three, I got the Texas A&M Aggies, and that's because of Mike Elko and their quarterback, Marcel Reed. And with that being said, quarterback Marcel Reed is for sure my standout performer from the SEC conference so far this season. When you look at quarterback Marcel Reed, first things first, I played against this guy last year in the Vegas Bowl when I was with the Trojans. And last year, watching him on film, what stood out to me was, first, he's an unbelievable athlete. And you can just watch the LSU game to watch that. I mean, he ran all over him and just killed him with his legs. Next, he can make all the throws. He can make a deep ball. He can throw the field out. He can put the thing on the line. His arm talent is there. But what didn't stand out to me and what kind of concerned me with him last year was I didn't think he was willing to stay in the pocket and go through his reads and kind of process what the defense was showing him. And really, it looked like he was just looking to take off the run. This year, however, you can obviously see him. He's staying in the pocket. He's going through his reads. And then if nothing's there, then he's taking off and running. And I'm loving that. And his stats back this up. I mean, he's got 869 passing yards for 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. And then he's rushed for 142 yards. So his stats back up what I just said. And then my final thought on Reed is, when you talk about a guy making a growth from one year to the next year, it's more than just what he's doing on the field. It's what he's doing upstairs. It's what his mental looks like. And he showed me that he'd taken a big jump mentally as well. And I saw this in a Notre Dame game. First off, just with his process and ability. But then, it's late in the game. He's on a game-winning drive. It's fourth down. It's a big fourth down. You got to get the conversion. What does he do? He runs off to the sideline. He runs off to his coaches, and he's talking to his coaches. He's having a discussion with his coaches. He's clearly telling his coaches what play he wants. He's clearly telling his coaches how he wants to run the play. He's not just over there saying, "Coach, what's the play? What's the play?" He's over there saying, "This is what I want. This is what I'm seeing, and this is how we should do it." And you got to love that. That shows maturity, it shows leadership, and that's what put him over the edge to be really my standout player from the SEC.
Fourth in the game. Reed, rush comes. Reed pumps, fires. It is caught. Nate Barkacher brings it in.
Next up, we got the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, and this one was pretty easy to pick my top three. And with that being said, the number one team in the ACC after the first couple weeks is the Miami Hurricanes, without a doubt. They got 2 quality wins, and one of them is a dominant win. USF, that's their dominant quality win. USF goes out, beats a playoff team in Boise State. They go out, they beat the Florida Gators. They got all this hype behind them. They got all this hooting and hollering about them. And what happens? They go in there in Miami and they get curb stomped, 49-12. That's exactly what you want to see out of the good team. Exactly what you want to see out of a great team. Them blowing out USF shows me they're a great team. And then on top of that, they have a quality win and beat Notre Dame. And Carson Beck is just playing phenomenal. He's not my standout performer. He could be. I'll tell you who is in here in a minute, but he looks great. Corey Hetherman, the DC coming over from Minnesota, he's got that defense rolling. And this Miami Hurricanes team is a legit team, and the U is back. Make no mistake about it. So they are my number one team in the ACC. And then my second place team in the ACC, and that's the Florida State Seminoles. Listen, in the offseason, they go get 2 new coordinators. They get offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn. They get defensive coordinator Tony White. And then they go get quarterback Tommy Cassiano out of the transfer portal from Boston College. And it looks like it's all just come together to just be a perfect match in Tallahassee. And this Florida State Seminole team looks fantastic. And they showed this against Alabama in week 1. I mean, Gus Malzahn was drawing up some crazy run schemes against the Crimson Tide. And then on top of that, they just physically dominated Alabama. And then in their second game, they go play East Texas A&M or whoever, and they hang 77 points up on them. So they did what they were supposed to do against a lesser opponent. So without a doubt, Florida State's my second-ranked team in the ACC. And then my third and final team in the ACC is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Listen, they're 2-0 with 2 quality wins. I know I'm going to get pushed back on that first game being a quality win, but in my eyes, going to Colorado on a Friday night season opener in a hostile environment, I was there, it was a hostile environment. That counts as a quality win in my eyes. And then secondly, they beat the Clemson Tigers, and I already talked about Clemson, what I think about that program and why I think that's a quality win. So they are 2-0 with 2 quality wins. But the main reason I have them at the 3 spot in the ACC right now is because they have my standout performer from that conference, and that's quarterback Haynes King by far. It's seriously time we start talking about King as a legitimate Heisman contender, because that's what he is and that's how he plays. He's put Georgia Tech on his back for 2 straight seasons now. And looking at this year, in 2 games, he's got 354 passing yards and 259 rushing yards. But this goes way beyond his stats. I mean, if you watch the Clemson game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you didn't, let me break it down for you. This guy was out there fighting for every inch, fighting for every yard, just putting the team on his back, being a leader, and running people over, running physical, putting his body on the line. And because of this, he's definitely my standout performer, and he deserves to be in the talks for the Heisman.
Shotgun, 3rd and goal. Haynes King following his running back. King will keep it, cuts it back inside the 10, and King into the end zone. Georgia Tech retakes the lead with a King touchdown. On a walk-off field goal, will he be in a similar situation? Tech has some work to do. King keeping it. First down and more. King breaks free. Past the 20. He'll take it all the way. Touchdown.
Now it's time for the best conference in college football. I'm talking about a conference where real grown man football is played. I'm talking about the Big Ten. And coming in at number 1 is my first former squad, the Ohio State Buckeyes. First off, I'm a firm believer. You win the national championship, the next season you should start out ranked number 1 in the country and keep it until you lose, and they haven't lost. And on top of this team looks like they reloaded, and it doesn't look like they're going to be rebuilding anytime soon. They beat number 1 Texas, who I don't think Texas is who we thought they were, but that's still a great quality win. Then they go play Grambling State. They take care of business, and they beat them 70-0. And then finally they play a good MAC team, the Ohio Bobcats, and they beat them 37-9. Ohio played them tight. It was 16-9 in the 3rd quarter, but they turn things around and get it done. So to me, they're the best team in the Big Ten right now. Before I move any further, I just want to say, if you're a Penn State fan, cut the video off. I'm not ranking you guys, and that's because you've played 3 shit boxes, and I said I wasn't going to rank a team that's done that. So moving on to my second-ranked team in the Big Ten, and that's the Oregon Ducks. First off, they beat Oklahoma State 69-3. Oklahoma State is not freaking Villanova. Oklahoma State is not a shitbox program. Oklahoma State is a known team with a known coach, and they have a good history overall. So beating a team like that, a program like that, 69-3 is really impressive to me. Next, they beat Northwestern. They go on the road and get a Big Ten win on the road against Northwestern, 34-14. And I know that's not a blowout necessarily, but I got to tell you what. Playing at Northwestern, I had one of my best friends played at Northwestern, and that makeshift stadium or whatever is right on the lake. The energy's low in there. It's like a high school, low-level high school game. The energy was probably terrible, and they still find a way to go out there and win in a pretty decisive manner. So I got the Oregon Ducks sitting at number 2 right now in the Big Ten. And then my third and final team in the Big Ten. We're going with the Cardinal and Gold and my one true love, the USC Trojans. Listen. I love them to death, and I would die for that program. but that's not the reason I'm putting them at 3. I'm putting them at 3 for multiple reasons. First off, they lead the nation in total offense. Secondly, they lead the nation in total sacks. They got defensive coordinator Dan Lin in his second year with the program. I mean, this guy's one of the best defensive coaches, in my opinion, the best defensive coordinator in the country. So that defense is going to take the next step, and they've already proven that they're ready to do that. Then you got Coach Riley, who's got Jaden Mayalva, a quarterback with all the talent in the world, going to be a Heisman contender, mark my words. And he's in his second year under Coach Riley, had a full offseason to develop. He's taking that next step. This offense, they got the best wide receiver duo in the Big Ten with Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon. I mean, this team is legit. They beat Missouri State, who's I know is a shitbox team, but they hung 70 on them, did what they were supposed to. Beat Georgia Southern. I know another semi-shitbox did what they were supposed to, 59 points. And then they played Purdue. No such thing as a shitbox Big Ten team. After a 3-hour delay on the road, they get a W and they play Michigan State. So we'll see if they keep rising. But I'm telling you, I've been arguing with people left and right, and I don't want to hear anything about it when they're competing for a Big Ten title. So they're my third and final team right now. Now, when it comes to my standout performer in the Big Ten, I'm actually going with 2 here. First up, we got Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. This dude's as talented as it gets, and he's just a freak out on that football field, and he plays with relentless effort. He has a high motor, and in his first game against Texas, he goes for 9 tackles and a sack. Ohio State moves him around. He does a little bit of everything. He has 2 pass deflections. I mean, this dude is a beast. Now, my second performer, we're going with USC linebacker Eric Gentry. This guy's one of the freakiest playmakers I've ever been around. He's always around the ball, always making plays. He has 21 tackles, all solo tackles, by the way, which is insane, according to ESPN. He has 3 sacks, and he's forced 2 fumbles already. He's probably going to force like 10 fumbles. I swear, he's always around the ball, always making plays. If he stays healthy, he's going to be a Buckus Award winner or in the talks for it. Him and Arvell Reese are my 2 standout performers from the Big Ten.
Baxter, and he won't get it. Ohio State, stout up the middle.
First down, Ryan Brown's going to be swarmed under at the 20.
Guy.
Second and 10. Brown throws. That was supposed to be a screen to the tight end, I think, and Gentry just blew that.
Now it's time for the final conference, the Big 12 Conference, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. Other than having Iowa State at number 1, I have no idea where to go from there. Iowa State's number 1. They beat Kansas State. They beat Iowa. I like those 2 wins. I love their quarterback, Rocco Beck. I love their coach, Matt Campbell. And so Iowa State's number 1. But when I'm looking at these teams and kind of looking at what they've done and watch some of their games, I wish Baylor beat Auburn, because if Baylor beat Auburn, they'd be a clear-cut number 2 or even number 1. I love their quarterback. I love the fact they beat SMU. It just sucks they lost to Auburn. I still want to put them at 2. I'm going to put them at 2. You know what? Baylor's at number 2. Even though they lost to Auburn, Auburn's a good SEC team. I'm going with Baylor at number 2. They beat SMU. And nobody's played anybody. I mean, Arizona played Hawaii, Kansas State, and some random. Texas Tech played Kent State. Utah played UCLA, who's 0-3. And half of them are 2-0. I don't know what the deal is with that either. So I'm going with Baylor at number 2. And I'm just going to go with somebody I know at number 3. And I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars, I believe. Houston Cougars, or however the hell you say it, and that's because of Latrell McCutcheon, the corner. I think he's one of the best corners in the country. He had 11 tackles in their season opener, balled out in their second game against Colorado. So that's my final 3. I'm going with Iowa State at number 1. I'm going with the Baylor Bears at number 2, and I'm going with Houston at number 3. As you can tell, I really want this Baylor team to do good, because I got to tell you what, that quarterback they got, he's definitely my top performer from this conference so far, Sawyer Robertson. I mean, he's just been doing his thing. Listen to this. In his first 3 games, he's got 1,070 yards and 10 touchdowns, no turnovers. And then against SMU, they beat the SMU Mustangs 48-45 in overtime. He goes 34-50, throws the ball 50 times, has 440 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. He's got a rocket for an arm. He can make all the plays, and he's a legit Heisman contender. And Baylor's going to have a good year with this guy quarterback. I'm telling you right now. So Sawyer Robertson is my top performer from the Big 12. And that concludes today's episode of Shaw Sports Talk. do me a favor. We're going to be coming out with a lot of good stuff over the next couple of weeks, and I really don't want you to miss it. So with that being said, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button to make sure you hear the most recent stuff from Shaw Sports Media. Let's go.